Dallas Cowboys on 3. Make it loud. 1, 2, 3. Dallas Cowboys.
Snap back to Prescott. He's going deep. Down the right side. Over the shoulder for Bryant. Perfect. All the way down and around the 25-yard line of the Eagles.
Get the right kind of guys here. High standards. Work your ass off every day. High accountability. Okay? And then it shows up on Sunday.
Out of the gun, back to Dak. They've taken another shot in the end zone. It does! Left side of the end zone. Touchdown, Dez Bryant. Looking late. Starts up the middle. Now he pulls it back. Now he peels around left. Now he throws it in the end zone. Jason Witten. Touchdown. Cowboys win.
You love them or you hate them, but you will tune in and turn in to see what people are saying about them. That's why they call America's team.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? We are back. Silver and Blue Nation. A little short-handed. JK's out on his little rock tour with Metallica. You know, Metallica doing his thing. 72 rock bands. I don't know.
Rock on the Range.
Rock on the Range. 82 bands. So he's gone. He'll be back next week. Producer G, as usual, cooking it up like he always does. I'm Big Game James. You know. Sorry we're a little bit late, but it's not because it was bad. It was actually because it was good that we were a little late, because my son just got done with a football camp, a little local football camp out in my area.
Capital University in
Capital
Columbus,
University out here in Columbus, Ohio. It was a good little, good coaching, good teaching. The coaches were good and fiery. I like the kids that showed out at the camp. I was excited seeing my son. He's a freshman. He's about 6'2", almost 3/4 now. Nice and athletic freshman. Played linebacker, outside linebacker, defensive end last year. I'm not hyping my kid. I know talent. If he ain't good, I wouldn't hype my kid. Like if he was weak, I would be like, hey, my son's whack. My son's pretty good. And he was on that edge last year, coming off the edge, real nice. And so we get a little weight on him, keep him in that weight room. He played linebacker. I was liking him in the linebacker, running back drills. But man, when they put him at cornerback, G,
maybe he'll be a feature Cowboy.
Man, you're already about 6'2", right? And you're a freshman. You're about 170, 172 pounds right now. Already strong and athletic. Got very long arms. Is very tenacious. He has a real tenacious type attitude. And he loves shutting people down one-on-one. So to me, it's a perfect spot. And he loves playing press coverage. That's the only thing he did. He didn't give him no room. He was press coverage, hands all on him, trying to push him down, maul him to the ground. That's how he tries to do before they get out 5 yards. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do in the future. And him as his sophomore year, hey, if he switched the corner and turned up, woo, it's going to be a sight to see. So that being said, like I said, Silver and Blue Nation, kind of quiet in Cowboy world.
Not a lot going on.
Not a lot really going on, but this is like my worst period of time. Like I can understand when the season's over, and I know there's not going to be football. I know there's going to be baseball. I know there's going to be basketball. I know there's going to be soccer. I know there's going to be hockey. I know there's going to be all the other sports. I know football's not going to be around. The worst time for me is when football is almost here, and we get basically teased with the rookie mini camps. We don't get the full love of seeing the players on training camp every day. We're only getting a little tease because we're not going to see these guys again for another month or so. So it's like the worst period because you got your rookies that are coming in. You just had rookie camp. You're excited about the rookies. You want to keep on watching them. You just want to keep watching them every play. You want to see Charles Tapper finally come off the line against Tyron Smith. You know what I mean? You want to see Taco Charlton going against La'el Collins up the front. You want to see Malik Collins going against Travis Frederick and Zach Martin up the middle and see how better he's getting. You know what I mean? You want to see Dez Bryant against Jordan Lewis. Oh, that's the spinoff. Make sure you check out the article, the Landry Hat. Do a little writing for them as far as the contributor side. Wrote a little article on Jordan Lewis. Make sure you check it out. I think he's a ball hawk on the team. I've been said it. I also like Woods, who's with us as well. But as you have 14 interceptions, you're a ball hawk, no doubt. And it doesn't really matter what level it's on. But you're playing at the highest level at Michigan, and you have 45 pass breakups in your whole career, and you're a two-time All-American, and you're just scrappy, and your ball skills are really, really good, especially in the slot. I got to give you that love. Like, you might get those picks because I had seen him at receiver position as the YouTube tape that I showed. Seeing him at the receiver position really got me excited to let me know that he's not just trying to guard you physically in that slot. He's trying to get that ball and take the interception, and not just take it, but take it to the house. And that's what we need in 2017. We need turnovers. A lot better last year as far as the turnover side for us, but in 2014, I think we only had like 11 turnovers total, and that was our big hindrance as far as the defensive side. So we can get some aggressive ball hawks that we've been clamoring for. I think it's going to be a big difference in Marinelli's fourth year, and I think this is a good year that we can finally see the defense do what they want to do. We're going to talk about defensive line today on the Silver and Blue, but we're going to talk about the defense as a whole. Byron Jones, we're going to talk about him, because me and you had a discussion about him, G. Is he really the safety for us? I'd like to see him comboing with Cheat Uwuze. I would love to see him. What's up, everybody, Cowboy Nation? If you're just tuning in, we miss you. We love you. Jump on in, Q&A. You know how
We're a little later than usual today. Normally we start at 1:30. We decided to do a little bit later today just to see who's out there at this time of day.
This time of day.
Change it up a little bit.
Switch it up a little bit.
We'll have some more changes coming soon, too. We were talking about doing an outside show. If it was nice today, we would have been outside.
Yeah, we definitely would have done an outside show. Well, hey, my people are already jumping in. So will Byron Jones be even better this year? That's the debate me and G were having.
We were talking about that before we went on when we were watching that Green Bay game, the playoff game from last season.
And he looked terrible.
How he gave up that huge pass to Jared Cook at the end of the game. Particularly that one everyone's going to remember, but
we were
saying the entire game he was having issues.
Yes, he was getting victimized. If you really look at the tape, I looked at the all 22 tape so I can see the above pictures, actually watch him coveraging. I mean, the corners, the slot receivers, outside receivers, tight ends he was giving them too much cushion. It was almost like he was kind of scared to break on the ball. Like, you could see him he would be near the position, but it's like he's cautious back there. It's almost like he's almost thinking too much on the back end, and he can't let maybe his natural ability shine through. But he's going to have to, because this is year 3, and he's playing free safety, so he has to be more of a guy that can get out there. And right now, I think he's just playing too cautious, and now he has more of a leadership role on him with the whole secondary being gone. I think he needs to start making those plays and playing more natural, because he does have the ability. But as we talked before, just because you have great combine numbers doesn't mean you're a great player. Numbers don't lie. You can jump 40-inch vertical. You can have the all-time record in a broad jump. You can run a 4.4 in the 40. But does that transition on the football field? And that's what we're yet to see, is those measurements transition on the football field as far as making plays. I see a kid like Landon Collins, who's with the Giants, who we had the opportunity to take. And look at that kid. He's just 5 interceptions, sacks. I think he was the Giants' leading tackler.
At this
He's
point,
just a menace.
You would have rather have taken him.
At this point, you're definitely mad that you don't have Landon Collins and you have a Byron Jones.
Collins went in the second round that same year. Is that right?
Yes, and we had the opportunity to get him. And that's just, you look at it now, it's like Byron Jones has been a good player. As far as his tackling, that 81 tackles, I believe, this past year, very good tackler. He does cover tight ends well, but I don't see the playmaking ability. That's where I see he's lacking. I don't see the playmaking from him. I didn't see it at UConn.
It's kind of what we were talking about in that Green Bay game, where you were talking about how he was kind of he looked a little lost with that Jared Cook play at the end.
Yes.
Maybe man coverage is more suited for him versus letting him have that freedom to just do what he wants, because as you can see, he gave up a huge play there.
And it was a big play, and we just talked about the route that Cook ran. It's not like he ran a fast go route. He jogged that whole way, and basically Rodgers just looked for him, and Byron Jones had his head back and forth, looking back and forth. How are you missing this guy coming behind you? That's the number one rule as any kind of corner or safety. You never let the player get behind you. You always keep everything in front of you.
At this point right now, is Byron Jones the best player in the secondary?
Right now?
Considering his experience, and because right now he's the veteran in the secondary.
I'm going to say he's better. I'm
going
to say he's better. I'm going to say because he does have ability. I like his tackling ability. He is a smart kid. I just think he's thinking too much on the field, and that's why his natural ability isn't showing. So that's why I'm saying I haven't seen the playmaking ability. I believe it is there. I didn't see it at UConn, but I believe it is there. But sometimes I think he thinks too much on the field, and that's why he's missing those plays, those interceptions he should have, because he's been in plenty of positions to have the interception, but he just doesn't get them. And you have to get those interceptions. We have to get turnovers to get the offense back on the field so we can keep on driving and keep on scoring more points and more touchdowns.
And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.
Exactly.
Glory hole.
Hugh Brown, you think Darrelle Revis? I mean, we're not even talking about Darrelle Revis because he's not coming to us. So he's like a moot point. So I'm not talking to, no disrespect, Mr. Brown, but I don't think Darrelle Revis is coming to the team at all. I don't think he's going to be a safety. He's not built for a safety. If you look at his body type, he's built like a corner. He's not built like a safety. Safeties are like, and especially his type, he would have to be more like a free safety. He's not going to be a strong safety. So with his body type, he's not built for that free safety type spot. It's just like he's a cornerback. He's aged. He can help somebody, I think, like in a pinch of Pittsburgh, pick him up and let him play in maybe not an every down role. I think that would be really good for him. But for us, we have young corners. We don't need nobody old on our team.
No, we don't need to mess around with that.
Exactly. So, and Tim, you say Jones is going to be good this year. Mark your words. Hey, I'm all for it. I want him to turn up. Please, Byron Jones, by all means, turn up. I'm not doubting you, but you got to stop thinking so much on the field and make plays. That's all it is. That's what it's about. You get 81 tackles, that's good. Second year, this is going his third year, and he switched to a full-time safety, so we saw how good he can go back and forth with his positions as far as corner and safety, and he's been, I think, a very good player for us. But now you're the leader of that secondary. You need to just step up even more. That's what great players do. So if he's going to have a good year and he's going to be a great player, great players year 3 need to make great plays.
I don't have time to have a bad time.
Exactly. So, as I was saying before, check out the article I have on Jordan Lewis. I really like Jordan Lewis. I think he's going to be a difference maker. But you know what? I'm hearing, G, that a lot of people aren't talking about Brown like they are talking about Carroll. Like Carroll could be the starter. Like he really could be the starter. And you think that could be true? Do you think Nolan Carroll could be starting year 1?
What made that persuasion? I mean, are they looking at his tape in Philly, or because he hasn't really had any work with us yet?
Yeah, and I don't know if they're looking at maybe the size.
We know what Anthony Brown brings to the table.
Do you think it's more the size? Because Carroll's about 6'1", Brown's about 5'11".
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the experience.
Maybe the experience. I think maybe starting out.
The experience, because you got rookies in there, and experience is very valuable. So I could see him maybe starting out the first couple games.
Yeah,
just because you have an experienced veteran cornerback, and I don't know if you want to be trusting a rookie right away, but I guess we'll see. And you never know what kind of moves can still be made. It's there's still 3 months to go in this offseason.
A lot of time.
A lot of stuff happens during training camp. Injuries
is the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing to me.
People get cut from other teams that are really good because of contract or depth reasons. So there's still moves that can be made. Nothing's set in stone right now.
Exactly.
But I really like Anthony Brown myself.
I like that. I like Anthony Brown as well.
Now
What's
there's
up, Ryan?
a chance to just flourish and step it up.
What's up, big dog?
Hey, Ryan, we missed you last week.
Yes, we did. What's up? And, I mean,
he said, Adrian Sains says Kevon Frazier will be a beast. Honestly, I haven't seen enough of him. I don't really know anything about him. Other than college and that he might have made some noise in some practices, but what game time did he really get?
He played a lot on special teams. He was a big special teams forward player. I mean, that's where guys kind of make their mark. If you see safeties with us, they play special teams.
I mean, a lot of guys start on special teams.
If you're a hitter and you can make tackles, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that they're looking at. Can he hit? Can he make tackles? If they think you can hit and you're making tackles in your safety, well, we can slide you in that safety role, much like Barry Church. Barry Church was never a ball hawk. Barry Church was never a playmaker, but Barry Church had good size at 6'2". He was a very good tackler, and that's what he did for us. I mean, he averaged almost 100 tackles his last 3 seasons with us, so he was a big tackler with us, but he didn't bring playmaking. That's why we let him go.
He never really had that natural talent to begin with, as he was an undrafted free agent, so he had to work very hard to get to where he was. So his whole career was just based on hard work.
Exactly. It wasn't,
which is good.
Right. But if you're taking your team to an elite level like you want, especially your defense, you can't keep having those type of players. If you have a Brandon Carr, if you have a Morris Claiborne, if you have a Barry Church, if you have a J.J. Wilcox, these are average players. So if you have average players, you're going to get teams that torch us. I mean, you can look at the numbers. I was going to get the numbers. It's hard to do it from my phone because I got some good numbers as far as what teams were throwing against us. I mean, we have been middle of the pack with Ron Marinelli for the last 3 years, which is great. Look what he's done with just regular talent. I mean, but for only so long, like we were talking about how we may have led the league as far as yards per game against us, only 86, but that's only because teams had to get back from the running game and throw the ball.
The offense is on the field so much.
Exactly.
Our
offense is on the field. We're up 14-0 on you. You're not going to keep running the ball. You're going to start throwing the ball.
When you're leading the league in time of possession, that bodes well for your defense.
Exactly.
No matter how good or bad they are.
So if you get a running play and the play goes first down, and they get 2 yards, okay, now it's 2nd and 8 and you're down 14. Well, now they're going in shotgun. They're going passing mode. A lot of these teams don't run the ball like they used to back in the day. They're throwing the ball. So they're already going in 3, 4, 5 receiver sets, dumping it, doing dump downs, quick passes, West Coast type offense so they can get the ball downfield. That's the way they do. So I think Dallas's numbers were inflated. Although we did have a good run defense, I think if teams were able to really pound the ball against us, because we've seen it time and time again, that we can be stopping the team all game. Third quarter comes, they start gashing us up the middle. Those holes that weren't up in the beginning of first and second quarter, and all of a sudden they're coming up the middle on us. They're not even running outside sweeps, traps. They're coming straight up the gut on us and getting 8, 9, 10, 12-yard gains. And now they play action. And what do, G? Play action. Our secondary is in zone. We don't have the players to cover them, and they just kill us in the middle all day. That's what teams do against us. So that's why there had to be a change, and that's why all those guys had to go.
Appreciate everybody's questions. Tim, Jonathan, we're going to get to all of them, so just hang in there. Just keep watching. We will get to your question. Tim Van Diver, if I'm saying that correctly, says, are we still in a situation where if our starting quarterback goes down, we're done? Zero confidence in Kellen Moore.
We already talked about the Kellen Moore situation.
Yeah, but people this week may not have tuned into the last.
Well, last week, we were talking about Kellen Moore. You like Cooper Rush for Central Michigan.
I like that battle for the backup quarterback spot because it's, one of them's going to emerge, and if Kellen Moore is any good, this is just going to make him better.
But here's my point with that. I don't want a rookie. I don't want a rookie with a player like Kellen Moore back there. I don't want anything to derail our season. Lord forbid something happened with Dak Prescott getting hurt. I'm not feeling supreme confidence in Kellen Moore, and he's a left-handed quarterback. Now your left-handed tackle is not the best player as far as your line, and he has to block. Now it has to be the right tackle is protecting his blind side.
Well, after getting Dak last year, it gives me a little bit more confidence, that a rookie could come in and maybe do something because of the team that we have. And plus, you got the scouting department. This is the first quarterback we drafted in a while as far as Dak Prescott goes, and he turned out well. So maybe they see something they like, a lot in Cooper Rush. I read an article earlier that said the Cowboys had the best undrafted free agent class out of any team this season.
That could be happening. I mean, we already talked about Jahai Thomas.
My point is, you said you didn't want a rookie. I was just saying I'm a little bit more confident in a rookie than what you might be just because I believe in what, the scouting and what happened with Dak and, things can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, Dak did amazing things, but everybody still, no matter what, how many times have we seen, and I love Dak, but how many times have we seen one-year quarterbacks doing one-year flashes and then they come crash to the ground? No matter what,
it happens a lot.
No matter what people say about Dak, everybody's still looking for year 2.
You got to.
You have to. You can't just anoint him as he's like the greatest quarterback in the world.
You got to see it.
You have to see year 2.
More than one season.
One season does not do it in the NFL, so he has to consistently do it. So this is a critical year from him.
Although, most rookies, you see that they maybe get lucky or rely on their athletic ability a lot and don't. They make a lot of mistakes. Dak made very, very little mistakes last year. So that just gives me confidence that he's going to continue to do that. He didn't make any crucial mistakes, so why wouldn't he just keep getting better?
I agree, but at the same time, I don't think he's not going to throw under 4 interceptions again this year. I don't really see that happen because the league, they get tape on you. No matter how good you are, they're going to get tape on you. They're going to know your sweet spots. They're going to know where you like to throw the ball. They're going to know those routes. So now you have to be even better, because at the beginning of the day, nobody knew what he was going to do. Nobody thought he was going to be completing the 68% completion percentage. Nobody thought it. That was the biggest knock probably on him in college, was he going to be an accurate quarterback in the NFL? You saw the running ability, you saw the arm, you saw he could make the throws, but was he going to be accurate? So I think it surprised everybody that he completed that good of the season and still averaged 8 yards of completion. So it wasn't like he was dinking and dunking, but at the same time, people are now see what kind of routes you like to throw. So now your passing has to be even better, especially to me with the deep ball connections with Dez Bryant.
And a better defense and Zeke going to the next level is just going to help that continue to get better. Just looking at some more questions here. Adrian says they got Brown, Frazier, and David Irvin in town in California for a signing. That's cool. Go ahead, go get that signature. Tell them about Silver and Blue Nation.
Please do, and that's big. Matter of fact, post that on our page, Silver and Blue Nation. Post that picture. If you got any pictures with them, post that on the page.
Appreciate that. Scott Stultz asks, do you think Taco is going to help the defense? I mean, I don't know what kind of question that is.
Go!
But I would expect him to help, yes.
Tim thinks do you think I don't have confidence in Dak? Okay, I do. I do have ultimate confidence in Dak, But guess what? It's still year 2. We still got to see more. I mean, Romo came in and did his thing, but we still need to see the next year. You don't just come in at 1 year and say you're all the way, you made it. That's not how it happens in NFL. You have to prove yourself beyond 1 year. There's been plenty of one-year wonders that have had great years their first year and have fell off. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Dak, but it's going to be a harder year. It's going to be a tougher year. We play tougher opponents, so I think he's going to rise to the occasion. I just want to see what is going to happen. I don't think he's going to just throw 4 picks, though. He may throw a little bit more picks, but I think he would be more even dangerous as a passer this year because of the system that he's in and because of the weapons he's going to have.
Yeah. I don't see any reason why Dak can't follow the footsteps of like a Ben Roethlisberger. Comes in, has that monster rookie year. Why can't he just continue to play well? And like with Big Ben, you knew from year 1, he's the guy.
Yeah, you knew Big. You knew Big Ben was the man. After he played that rookie year, you knew he was the man. Just like I know, we talked about before he got drafted when he was at Mississippi State. My guy Tim is over there talking about was he really feeling it? I'm like, he feeling my voice. I was talking about Dak when he was at Mississippi State coming to us. So I was already had the feeling that's who we wanted. It's just now you're in year 2. It's going to be a harder road to go. So we're going to see what happens, and I'm excited to see. I can't wait to the season because I want to see him throwing that long ball to Dez. I really want to see him and Dez connect this year. You said Dez can have a career year. I hope he can. I don't know if he can get beat 16 touchdowns again, but I'd definitely like to see him getting those 12 to 14 range and being about 1,400-yard receiver again for us, because he's dynamic. It makes our whole offense better.
Since we're talking about him, Ryan Dye, we're going to get to your question in just a second, and Robert Snar will get right to you. Angel just said something about what we were talking about. Brady wasn't throwing the numbers he does today when he first come in. That's the exact same thing I said.
What's that?
Brady was exactly how Dak started, like not going down the field all the time, not putting up 50 touchdowns. So that was one of my comparisons right away, early on, when you could see that poise and he just is so in focus with the game. I just felt like a good comparison for Dak was Tom Brady, as far as like beginning of his career, coming out with the shorter passages, taking what they give you and winning games.
I mean, it works.
I agree with that, Angel. Thanks for that comment. And then Ryan Dye asked if he's not sure if we answered this, but who you most excited about on defense? For me,
are we talking rookies?
Just
overall?
Defense for the season. So he didn't specify. For me, it's David Irving, just because I've seen that potential, and I want to see a guy go to the next level and hit like 20 sacks. I want to see J.J. Watt type production from a guy like that, because he showed J.J. Watt type potential, just wrecking the backfield and doing more than just sacks, forced fumbles, all that.
I think for me, it's going to be Malik Collins. because coming off 5 sacks last year as a rookie, I liked him when he was at Nebraska.
I like that one too.
I was super excited when we drafted him. I thought he was going to be the guy that was going to be in that defensive tackle position for the next 10 years for us. Crawford's a good tackle, but he doesn't have the ability as Collins does. And I just want to see. I'm not saying he's a Warren Sapp, but I'm talking about his ability. He can get 8 to 10 sacks as a defensive tackle, and that's a hard position. But you see how much Aaron Donald, you see those defensive tackles in the game right now, that if they get those 8 to 10 sacks a season, Geno Atkins, those guys make everybody else better around them, because I told you before, quarterbacks do not like getting the pocket pushed in the middle. They can slide to the outside when they're getting rushed to the outside. But when you can push that pocket up the middle from the defensive tackle position, it just makes the whole defense better. So I honestly think he can get about 8 to 9 sacks this year. Malik Collins can.
Yeah, I agree with that. He had 6 last season, and didn't he start off a little injury plague?
Yeah, he actually broke his ankle at the beginning of the year, and they were talking about he was going to be a little bit before he actually could see some action. He was out 8 weeks, came back in right at the beginning of the season, played a little bit his first 2 games, and ended up starting the rest of the year. He started 14 games.
Yeah, and being a rookie and getting those 6 sacks, I mean, that's monstrous. And from that position, which is difficult to get sacks from, I said it before, he just kind of reminds me of like a Jay Ratliff, those hand moves and that power just explode right through the line and just rush that quarterback up the middle, kind of like what the flashes we saw from Tyrone Crawford. Kind of is what Malik Collins does more consistently.
Right.
Like just bull rushing that middle. But like you said, that'll force guys to the outside, and then that's where you got Taco and Irving.
That's when you got Irving. And then when you look at it, think about it like this: if you're getting that push up the middle, that's why I think Crawford would be better playing that defensive tackle position next to Collins. I think Collins will make Crawford better because Crawford has a motor. Crawford does not give up, and that's what I do like about him. But he doesn't have the ability of a Malik Collins. So when you pair them together, now you're getting that push up the middle. As you said, now your quarterback has to slide to the outside. David Irvin, 6'7", Taco Charlton, 6'6". You got guys like Tapper, who's 6'2", but he's got a quickness off the edge. Now you're getting the sacks. Now you're getting the fumbles. Now you're getting the quick passes that I did not want to throw, and we're breaking on the ball and taking it to the house for an interception. Those are the plays that you make, and that's when your team is so much better, because now when your defense can score for you and you know your defenses can get turnovers and sacks, man, it's like you're almost an unstoppable machine, and that's what we're looking for Marinelli. That's the type of players that we're trying to get him now, because he's proven that with his season. I mean, last year we had 36 sacks. That was the league average as a whole, 36 sacks. We had 36 sacks. We also had our average age for our defense was 26 years old. That's what before those guys left. So now I'm going to say we're close to about 25 maybe as far as our age. We're a young team. I just think get these opportunities as far as sacks, fumbles, turnovers. That's when we make our team so much better.
Yeah, I mean, we've been focusing on rebuilding that offensive line all these years. Now it's finally set, the offense. Everybody's young. You know, Dez is getting up there. We were talking about that a little bit ago. He's almost 29. So he's getting up there a little bit. We said he might have 2 to 3 really solid prime years left. Excuse me.
But that's where, that's where I think next year, honestly, next year when we're looking to draft for our next receiver, I really do think that if we have a first-round pick
can't
next
go
year,
wrong there.
First-round pick, and there's a really good receiver, I think we're going to grab a really good receiver too. Because, I mean, we got to see Dez is like you said, maybe 2-3 good strong years, so we got to look for the future. And we don't have that next alpha receiver like we have with Dez that's coming up. So I say in the draft next year, that should be our priority, is getting a top 5 receiver.
Next year the draft's just going to be like a candy land. I mean, almost all our positions are probably going to be filled. We're just going to be
just keep adding.
Best available, just grabbing whatever we can get. And there might be a couple undrafted guys, too, from this same class that make an impact this year. We'll see.
I mean, we're going to talk about a few of them. Honestly, we were talking about the defensive line because we were talking about that's a critical position with us. You can have good linebackers, you can have very good corners, you can have good safeties, but if you don't have a good defensive line, it doesn't matter. Just like if your offensive line is trash, you're not going to win games. If you don't have a good defensive line, you're not going to win. Teams, they may not run at you early, but if they know that they can run at you later, they will. If they know that they can pass the ball on you with short passes, dump passes, they're going to kill you.
So for me with the defensive line, the biggest thing that I've noticed is since we've lost DeMarcus Ware, We have not had that one guy that's a monster. We've had all guys that are around the same skill level that rotate. So I'm David Irving has been a guy that has stepped above, as far as his talent standing out above those other guys that we have. And DeMarcus Lawrence showed flashes, and then of course we got Malik Collins. But I'm ready to see like a Taco come in or David Irving stay in and get a guy that's getting 15 sacks a season. I think we need that big sack guy again. Let me
ask you this.
It's just been an average rotation the last 3 or 4 years. That's why we never have a pass rush.
And I agree, but let me ask you this. There's not a DeMarcus Ware on this roster.
No, there's not.
And there's not somebody even close because, like you said, G, we had DeMarcus Lawrence. We were guaranteed in my heart. DeMarcus Ware, I was guaranteed in my heart thinking, like, every year we're going to get at least 11 to 12 sacks from him until
you already knew it.
You already knew you were getting that many sacks from him. You already knew he was going to make plays.
We don't have a guy that you
we
can
don't
even
have
count
that
on
guy.
for 10.
Right.
You can't even, every team normally has one guy that gets 10 or more sacks every year.
And he's going to get them.
We don't have that.
Exactly.
And I'm not sure if we got that this year, but I guess we'll find out, with Taco. But that's what I was really, hoping we could go for was that dominating pass rusher. We tried that with Greg Hardy, but obviously that didn't work out. But that's the last time we thought we had a guy like that. But now we're still in that rotation.
And when that's what we're still looking for. And if we're looking for it, there's got to be a reason why you're looking for it. When you have great defensive ends, it changes the whole game.
They've got to think we got a guy on the roster already, and we've already mentioned Irving's name a ton.
What's up, Lamont? We'll say what's up to you. But that's the biggest key with me, like you're saying, G. Do we have that guy? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to give everybody how about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
And so, having said that, I want me some glory hole.
What was you getting into?
No, I was just my whole thing is like the main thing we've been talking about. Do we have that guy that's that 10 to 15 sack guy? I don't know if he's on the roster yet. Like you said, we're going to see. Tapper, everybody's talking about him, but you got to show and prove. You have to. We can all talk about what you look like on tape, but that's college. This is the NFL. You got to make plays. So we can all wish. And to me, David Irvin, I love David Irvin. I loved him when we picked him up from Kansas City. But is he ready to be that breakout year guy? Is he that guy that's going to get those? We've seen flashes, but we can't see just flashes this year. We got to see not even, I'm going to say even more improvement, but I'm going to say consistency. That's been the key with him. Even Ron Marinelli said the main thing with him is consistency. Okay, you can get 2 sacks, 2.5 sacks one game, 3 forced fumbles, but next game you're getting maybe 2 tackles and you don't get a sack.
Well, like we talked about before, though, just to cut in there real quick before you continue that, he only plays in 30 to 40% of plays. That's not on the field much to see if he can do more. But I guess you can't. Maybe he has weaknesses in certain areas where they don't trust him out there because he is still pretty raw. Mm-hmm. But he definitely has that talent. He just has to get it together upstairs, and I think he could be a guy that plays 3 downs.
We need to see him playing 3 downs. That's the biggest thing with us. I think we need to see DeMarcus Lawrence have a really good year.
Hey, what's up, Sieber? Hakeem? How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
No, it's all good. Honestly, I think the pressure's on our defense. The pressure shouldn't be on Marinelli just because of what he's done with what he's had. We've been in a middle-tier defense with very average players to me, especially on the back end, and we're still competing as far as defensively goes. We're not just getting blown out the water as far as defensively. So if you're seeing we're playing good defense with okay players, imagine what we can look like when we get ball hawks or we get guys that can really get after the quarterback. And yeah, you can have a good run defense during the first and second quarter, but is that run defense stopping them when it's 3rd and 5? We need to get them off the field. It's in the 4th quarter. They're trying to take a long drive. Can we get them off the field? That's the biggest thing for our defense this year. When they have big plays, we've seen it time and time again. When it's a 3rd down, can we stop these guys and get them off the field?
All right, so after this draft that we just had, what would you consider now to be the biggest weakness on the team? Is it still in the secondary because the guys are so young and raw, or is it linebacker?
Linebacker.
Linebacker?
I'm going to say linebacker because everybody is No matter what we're saying about Jaylon Smith,
exactly,
everybody is talking about. I mean, there's too many NFL players that are saying, look, nobody's hating on this kid, but this is a nerve. And like I told you when I was listening to Shannon Sharp on the Undefeated, when he brought up Robert Edwards, because I remember how good Robert Edwards was at Georgia, the running back. He was going to have a great career. He just came off his rookie year getting over like 1,100 yards. He looked like the truth. He tore that knee up at that game in Hawaii, and he messed up his nerve, and he was never the same. Napoleon McCallum that played, I think it's Napoleon Kaufman, or is it
Napoleon Kaufman?
Napoleon Kaufman.
Raiders.
He hurt his knee, nerve damage, never played again. And so no matter how much I have the optimism for it, he hasn't put on pads yet at all.
Yeah,
so if he doesn't play, who do we have?
As a Cowboys fan, you just need to have yourself mentally prepared that he's probably just don't even count on him. I wouldn't count on him.
We can't count on him.
I would be excited about the potential, but I would assume that he's not going to play, and if he does, it's just a bonus. Otherwise, you're going to set yourself up to be let down. Just don't do that.
Exactly. And so if he's not even in the fold, right, you have Sean Lee still, you got Damian Wilson and Anthony Hitchens, and then you have Kyle Wilber and Mark Narowska, I think, but he's been injured his, I think, third year now. He was injured his first 2 years with his Achilles. He blew his Achilles out at Wyoming. He had to sit out, and then he strained his Achilles last year. Kyle Wilber is just a serviceable player to me. He's not somebody that's standing out. He's not somebody that's going to make an impact.
He is what he is.
He is what he is. So if Sean Lee, everybody, hey, we all love Sean Lee, but he was injury prone too. He just had two good years where he hasn't been injured.
That's another guy. He could get hurt.
He can get hurt at any play.
And then that destroys your whole defense. Your captain's gone. Your chemistry's gone. So it could all be lost real quick.
That's the sore spot for me is linebacker.
Angel asked why we didn't draft any linebackers. That is a good question.
I don't know.
But we must have a lot of confidence in the guys we have currently.
I think they're putting a lot of confidence in Jaylon Smith's knee. I mean, I think they really are.
It's not just him either, though. When you look at the depth chart, I mean, we got a lot of guys. I mean, I know we have Jalen Smith is the big one, but there's a lot more guys. You talked about Damian Wilson. Mm-hmm. Hitchens is still there.
I like Hitchens and Wilson, but like I told you, like I wrote in the article, is he ready to take the next step? That's what we need to talk about with Damian Wilson. That's why I wrote the article about him. He has the talent. He has the ability, but is he going to be out there full time starting week one making plays? He can't just be out there getting 3 to 4 tackles in a game. He has to make plays. He's playing strong side linebacker. A lot of those guys do have to take on the offensive tackles, fullbacks, things of that nature, but you got to be able to make plays to make our defense work. The defensive line can play good, but those linebackers have to come in and fill those gaps and make those plays behind the line of scrimmage. And is Wilson going to do that? I want him to do that. Can he do that? I think he can, but that still doesn't say our linebacking core is great if you're not counting Jaylon Smith in there.
And so, having said that, I want me some glory hole.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, I mean, Hitchens moves around everywhere, you know.
He's played every position.
I think, wasn't he starting a lot in the middle last season?
Yeah, he was our middle linebacker. He's not the biggest guy, though.
He's a great depth player.
He is. I think he's more of a service. He's one of those guys that you bring off the bench, and it's better when he comes off the bench. Not if he's playing all game. I think he wears down because he's not the biggest guy out there. I think he does wear down when you get them tackles running across the I see it time and time again when they gash up the middle. He's the middle linebacker, right? So he has to fill the hole. Get those big offensive guards leaning on you, and you're not that big at maybe 235, 240. You're taking on that size. Fourth quarter, you're going to be tired. You need those bigger type linebackers and use him as a more of a bench player where he can come make those quick spotty plays, coming off the blitz, coming on a third down, worry about he can play in coverage. Those are the things you don't want to see him where he's part-time, not full-time. But we don't have those type of linebackers that can really make him do that unless Damian Wilson steps up.
So all I can say to what he said, that question that Angel had was, I mean, they got confidence in Jalen Smith and the Mark Nzinjoa. Nzinjoya, or something like that. They got to have a lot of confidence in those guys. But like we said before, still a long way to go. Training camp, things happen. You never know who's going to be cut still. So
I was surprised we didn't get a linebacker in free agency. I was surprised about that. I thought we would sign one of those linebackers that were maybe cut loose, maybe at least like how we do Durant. Somebody we can get for like a year or two.
That could still happen.
It could still happen. Maybe they're waiting for the last cuts. at the end of the year because we do pick up people right before the year starts.
Do you ever think that, going back to we didn't draft any linebacker, did you ever think maybe the thought of Rolando McClain could still have been there before this news came out last week?
He could have been there. I mean, I'm sure they probably kept him in the fold. And
could that have factored in? Like, we could still have him if we want, so do we really need to go linebacker here?
Nah, man, leave him alone. He just makes me sick. I can't stand Rolando McClain now. And not because you as a person. It's just like, dude, like, you could be playing, like, if you just want to go do that, just go do that. Don't even try to play football. Like, just go do that. Don't try to tease us.
Time.
You know what I mean? Don't try to tease us and make you think you're going to be there and you're not. I mean, I was really excited about our linebacker core with him because you were thinking maybe Jalen Smith or Sean Lee. We were good when we had Sean Lee and Rolando McClain back there. When he was
14.
our middle linebacker, 6'4", 260, he made Sean Lee so much better. He made our defense so much better. And that's why you're so frustrated with him, because he could do so many things.
He was a big presence.
And he just didn't care. You know what I mean?
Looks like people want to talk a little bit about offense now, I guess.
Well, they're talking about Kaepernick. If you looked on the page, I mean, we had some crazy talking on there about Kaepernick.
I think he's going to Seattle personally.
I mean, I don't know what to say about the Kaepernick. I've already said I would take Kaepernick. I don't know what everybody's going nuts about. We already know what it's about.
Personally, I don't think Cowboys fans even need to talk about it anymore. Just that's over with. I don't see him coming to Dallas. I think he's going to Seattle, and to me, that's it. I don't want to talk about it no more. We've already been talking about it, and I mean, I guess we don't know until it's done, but something's probably coming soon for him. I mean, Seattle's the only team that's been reported to contact him.
He's a good fit at Seattle.
Maurice said, how about Switzer? I'm so stoked to see what he can bring. Lucky Whitehead might be out of a job. I agree with that. I don't think Lucky Whitehead makes a roster this year.
Yeah, I don't see why he'd make the roster either.
I don't see it.
Switzer,
I think Noah Brown's going to come in and make the roster.
Yeah,
I think the guys we drafted make the roster, and then Terrence Williams, Des Bryant, Beasley, everybody else gone.
Yeah, because Bryce Butler might not make the team.
Butler could be another one.
I think he's a bubble player.
6, he'll be in. If we keep 5, he might be gone. But
I think we'll keep 6 receivers.
Noah Brown's spot is not guaranteed at all, but I do think Zeke's recommendation and with the way JT Barrett was sucking last year for Ohio State, I don't think he had a fair season to be judged on last season. So he could have a lot of talent. You know, we just had to see it.
He's young. I think they got him in that 7th round for a reason. If he doesn't play ever for us this year, he's going to that practice squad. So he's not going anywhere. They're not going to let him go. They're not getting rid of him. I think almost all the draft picks probably make the team. I think the only one who may be on the bubble is the Jordan Carroll kid from Colorado, but I don't know that. I believe the 7th round kid, Joey Ivy, makes the team. Unless he has just a terrible camp and shows absolutely nothing, I think he makes the team. The people not worry about who do maybe not make the team is a guy like Stephen Paya, who came over from the Browns.
Yeah, before you actually hold the thought on Paya, because someone just gave us a question that goes right into that. Because Dino said, let's talk defense, which, Dino, if you're just joining us, that's what the whole show's been about. So we just kind of switched the offense for a second. But then he also asked, will Paya start next to Collins and Crawford back? Will Crawford be back to defensive tackle? Also, will Carroll start at corners? That's kind of a 3-part question, but you were mentioning Stephen Paya, and he mentioned there, will he be starting?
I don't know, because he may not make the team. If we got a lot of defensive tackles, you got Thornton, you got Collins, you got Paya, you have Crawford who can slide in there, you have David Irvin who can slide in there in a pinch. And if you're getting Joey Ivy, who they're very high on, and this Carroll kid from Colorado, that's a big rotation. Somebody is not going to make that team. So if you're going to go young, I don't see Paya making it, because he's getting paid $800,000 for 1 year. There's no loyalty to that kind of contract. So I definitely don't see Paya. I don't think he's going to start for us. I think one of them young guys, or they slide Crawford back to defensive tackle next to Malik Collins, or rotate that matchup. The only time I see Paya maybe in there is because he's more of a run stuffer. But if you got Joey Ivy that's really showing improvement in the camp, if you're taking Joey Ivy or Stephen Paya, who do you think is getting cut? You already know who's getting cut. Stephen Paya is getting cut. We're keeping Joey Ivy with the young kid. He's 305, 310 pounds. He's cheap, and you can put weight on him and get him bigger. And he's got a motor, so why not take him? So I don't even know about Paya playing. I do see Crawford going back to defensive tackle because that's his best position. He's not good at defensive end. He's always there and never gets it. We need somebody who's going to make plays as far as go back to defensive tackle, making money there.
I agree with Cedric Scott. We need to get rid of Crawford or trade him to somebody because he has not lived up to the money that he got.
He hasn't.
He played well, up until he got the money. And then all of a sudden now he's hurt all the time, and he's getting 4 sacks a season. He's just not productive enough. He's another guy that he is what he is. He's a third-round pick. Some guys you draft and they end up they should have been first-rounders. And then some guys you draft and they are what they are. You do hit on some guys. They do fall in the draft to where they're supposed to be. And he was a third-round pick, and that's where he is, and that's the type of guy that, he plays that way, like a third-round pick. So, the only reason that anyone is disappointed or wants him gone is the same situation we have with Brandon Carr, where he's just making too much money versus the production he's putting out. If he wasn't making money, we wouldn't be saying anything about him being gone. We'd be okay with his 4 or 5 sacks.
Yeah. It's because his contract is really messing him up where he's at. I think that's why people are judging him like they're judging Brandon Carr. We all judge Brandon Carr because of that big contract he had. When he dropped his money and took a pay cut, we weren't so mad at him anymore. That's the same thing with Crawford.
Exactly.
If Crawford restructured his contract or take a pay cut, nobody's going to be mad at Crawford. They're mad that because we just paid you this big money, you should be getting more than 4.5 sacks. But
exactly.
I agree. His talent is what he is. He is topped out. He is not getting better. This is what he is now. He is not a Malik Collins. Malik Collins is head and shoulders way above, better than him. But he is still
in year 1.
He still is serviceable. He still is a good player. But let's not think about changing your contract now because you're not worth that much.
Something, yeah. Comedian Cuz said, "Do we need to find another defensive end in free agency or find a trade?" I think we're set on the defensive line.
I think they're gonna ride this out. I
don't see anybody else coming in.
I think they don't really want to mess with the chemistry. I think they're kind of maybe set. Maybe we go after a linebacker. I do think they're going to look at that depth. But I think we're going to ride out unless we have major injuries. And stay what we have, see what we have, and then kind of go from there. We're young across the board. I like the players that we have. I don't think we're going to trade. I think if we were going to do that, it would have happened. And if we do something, it's not going to be anything major. We're not going to give up anything major as far as draft picks or anything like that because the mindset with the Cowboys is stay young and cheap and not have to spend a lot of money. We're not trying to go back and cap hell anymore.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. Ryan Verdon, he's asking, he wants to switch back to offense, but I guess we can answer it real quick. But we're talking about defense mostly today because we know what the offense is going to do. He says, do you think Zeke will break 1,200 yards in the sophomore year?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. That's not even a question. Zeke is getting 1,600 yards this year, maybe 1,700.
He should have put 1,500 because that's the bar he set.
I mean, think about the year he had. He had, what 1,600 yards this year, right?
Yeah, almost 17. He didn't even play the last week and a half.
Right. So if you're looking at that, and first 2 games, he didn't even get inclined as far as with his the offensive line. He had a little bit of struggles. He sat out. He didn't run a lot in the Detroit game. Sat out the second half of that game. Didn't play against the Philly game. So look at all the yards that he left on the field as a rookie. This is year 2.
And he
knows how to run
already,
and they're like one. I mean, they're like a well-oiled machine. So he's going to be. If we have no injuries, he's going to have like a DeMarco Murray type year. I think he's that type of year where he'll be unstoppable. If you haven't seen these pictures of Zeke, the dude is bigger. He's only like 21 years old, maybe 22. The kid is huge. He's looking even bigger now. So you see him breaking through the line with that size and speed, man. I think Zeke is going to turn up this year.
J.D. Gary Sr. says Skandrick needs to restructure his too or get cut. And I agree with that as well. I think we all agreed that
Skandrick does need to restructure.
A trade would be fine.
A trade would be fine for Skandrick. No, I'm not. I'm not going to be mad if Skandrick stays on the team, but I'm not going to be mad if we try to do a cut for him. Now, Dustin, who was on the show, he says I brought up a trade, but the trade I brought up was Skandrick for Calvin Pryor for the Jets. That's who I brought up. No receiver. I remembered it now. So that was the straight-up trade where we take a Calvin Pryor who's still young, and they're trying to get rid of him because they just drafted 2 safeties. Would that be a straight-up trade what the Dallas Cowboys do, Calvin Pryor for Orlando Skandrick? At the time before we drafted Woods and them, I'd say why not? I wouldn't mind taking Pryor, who's a strong safety. He's still going to be cheap. He's not going to cost a lot of money, and he's 24 years old.
Right.
So that wouldn't hurt us as far as the back end. But yes, we keep paying Orlando Scandrick a lot of money. He's made a lot of money with the Dallas Cowboys. We just restructured his deal. He was almost going to sell a couple years ago because he wanted more money. We gave him like a $9 million bonus on top of what he has now. So either he produces, stays healthy, or yes, let's get rid of him and go with the youth movement. I'm cool with that.
Dino again says people forgot about Mayowa. He came out nicely last year. Six sacks. I believe he only played like 40% of the snaps.
Yes, he had 6 sacks. He had 25 tackles, and he did come on at the end of the year. He got benched for, I think, 2 or 3 games because he was not producing. That's when he came back like wildfire. You could see him finally coming off the edge. That was the biggest thing I was wondering with him was like when he was coming off the edge, where was his – I mean, that's the reason why we got him. He's 6'3", 260 pounds. We got you for as an edge rusher, not somebody who can really hold down the fort as far as run stopping, come off the edge. He wasn't doing it. Toward the end of the year, he was. Is he still a player that I think he's getting 10 or 12 sacks for us? No, I don't see that from him. But I wouldn't mind him being a steady 6 to 8 sack guy. I'm cool with that with him, but we can't rely on him as being our war daddy because he's sure not that. He's just a good player, and that's what we need to look at him as, that. Nothing more, nothing less. He's just a good player.
He's still young, though. I guess you never know if he had more time. He could be one of those guys.
I just don't see it in him. Just like you said, when you see people's ability where they kind of tapped out, he's good, but I just don't see him. He's not a guy that I feel like people are going to fear. We don't have that guy. I don't know. The only person I say is going to be that person would be David Irvin. That actually they fear they're going to, okay, we need to slide our rotation to Irvin because he's getting that back for every play. That's the only person I see on our team that can be that player. I don't see anybody else because I haven't seen Tapper. We can all say we're excited about him, but nobody's seen him on the field, so we can't say nothing about him.
Everybody's talking about war daddies. Let's define what is a war daddy.
I don't know. It's just somebody's. I don't know. Jerry Jones brought it up. I mean, nobody was talking about we need somebody who can get the quarterback.
I just want a definition because, like, you got J.D. Gary again asking, do you think Damian Wilson will be a war daddy for us this year? What's a war daddy? If somebody knows, comment. What's a war daddy?
I don't know.
Is that a guy that gets in the trenches? Because if that's the answer, then no for Damian Wilson because he's not going to be a guy in the trenches.
Yeah, he's a linebacker. Can Damian Wilson be a difference maker? How about that? That's
Absolutely.
what we need him to be.
Check out your article on the Landry hat, Big Game James.
Yeah, check out the article. I already talked about Damian Wilson. Is he going to be a breakout player for us? Read the article. I just talked about Jordan Lewis. I think he's one of our best guys in the secondary with ball skills. We all talk about 14 interceptions from Woods, which is great, but it's not as high as a level as far as Michigan in my eyes.
Yeah, he's not playing the same level of competition.
He's not playing the same level of competition. The quarterbacks, and I think Jordan Lewis is going to be on the field quicker than Woods is. So we'll be able to see a little bit more of what Jordan Lewis is going to do than Woods in the very beginning, at least in the season, because I think Jordan Lewis is going to get ample opportunity to get locked down that starting slot position in the back end.
Yeah, Dino, you should be more optimistic this year about the defense because how can you really get worse than it was? We talked about this.
It's not a worse defense. It's not a bad defense, though.
He's saying he's optimistic, and I'm saying you should be because we cannot be any worse than what we've been. And we talked about it a few shows before. Brandon Carr, Morris Claiborne, those guys, you're not going to do much worse than them no matter who you bring in.
Yeah, so you can't get worse than them.
Yeah, you can only be as good as we were last year or better. Like the only option is to get better.
Right.
How can we really be any worse?
We can't because those guys were weak.
Yeah, so you definitely should be optimistic if you're a Cowboys fan. And I was talking to a guy yesterday who's I guess you'd call him a Cowboys hater, but he was telling me the thing he hates the most about the Cowboys is fans are always overly optimistic, which I don't agree with that. I think a lot of Cowboys fans are pessimistic. Don't always think we're going to Super Bowl every year.
I don't know. I know there's a lot of Cowboy fans think we're going to win the Super Bowl every year.
I don't think that. I never think like that. Last year I was extremely pessimistic.
Right.
And then we came out and did well. Now I'm optimistic because we got a whole new era beginning.
Well, we'll see. Ryan throws in a question. Will Carroll start at corner? I don't know. I don't want him starting that corner. Let me just put it like that. I don't want him starting that corner. I think if he's starting that corner and our rookies are not starting, that's not good in my eyes.
Well, like we just said, he can't be much worse.
He can't be much worse, but I want to just throw these rookies in the fire. They're young and hungry. That's the main thing. Stephen Jones was saying that's the biggest thing that stood out to him was the cornerbacks, the speed, the scrappy, the guys wanting to make a name from us. I mean, we got Marquez White, who's back there in the sixth round, and he's got a big chip on his shoulder because nobody's talking about him. And he's a good, solid 6 foot, almost 200 pounds. He's got long arms. He could be a guy that be slept on with the team. So you got a lot of guys that are young and aggressive. I want to see those guys starting. I hope Nolan Carroll is not starting week 1 for the Dallas Cowboys, especially not against Brandon Marshall, Odell Beckham Jr., and what's the other kid, Sterling Shepard back there. I don't want to see Nolan Carroll go against those guys. I'd rather just take my chances with the rookies and just let them grow.
And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I feel what you're saying, Angel, about Terrell McClain. I did not want to lose him. I thought if we had him and Collins back together for another year, I think that defensive line would have been even monstrous because McClain finally got healthy for us after 2 years of being injury-prone, and he would always do really good and get hurt the next game and be out for the whole year. So we finally got to see him all year, and it was like I really wanted to sign him on the defensive end, and it just really pisses me off that they always go to the Washington Redskins. Like, out of all the teams that you played hard for us, then you go to the Redskins. I just kind of feel some kind of way about that. I just don't like that. Like Jason Hatcher, I feel some kind of way that you went to the Redskins, dude. That just bothers me.
I'm cool with it because he didn't do nothing. And
they don't really do nothing.
They're just showing their true colors, and they're going somewhere for the money, so they don't need to be on the team anyway.
True.
Terrence Williams is the kind of guy that you want on your team because he could have went somewhere else, but he decided not to.
Exactly, and he knew why. He's loyal.
So don't be mad at those guys for leaving because if they want to leave, let them leave. Barry Church, get the hell out of here. You don't want to play here anyway if you're going to go take some money and just go somewhere else. I mean, I know everybody needs to get paid, and he could have got paid. He just took more money.
True, and they offered him money, and he felt some kind of way with Stephen Jones. Like, look, we already had a certain amount of people play. We were going to pay anyway, and the other people we weren't worried about if they left. I mean, he felt some kind of way saying that kind of hurt him. He was surprised. Why would you be surprised? This is a business. Why would you be surprised? And for real, Dallas is very loyal to their players, so you can't really say that because Barry Church, they've been loyal to you, and you were an undrafted free agent, and you got 2 nice deals. Even after you blew your knee out in that Jets game, they gave you a big 4-year deal with a blown-out knee.
Of how well they treat you, I know you saw those new facilities. You shared the link on the page.
Oh, man, that new Star.
How would you not want to play for the Cowboys having the access to that type of top flight stuff?
Everybody wants to play for the Cowboys. All them haters, I've seen a few haters on here jumping and talking trash. It's all good. We love you, haters.
We like them.
We love you, haters, because we don't worry about you haters. Y'all worry about us. See, I would never jump on a Giants page or a Redskin page or no other team's page because y'all not relevant to me.
Or you hate them, but you will tune in and turn in to see what people are saying about them. That's why they call America's team.
That's right, because if the haters didn't want to watch, they would have just kept scrolling.
Exactly. See, they'll keep scrolling, but see, when they seen the Cowboys, them haters love us. So we love y'all because we don't hate on y'all. Like, I don't hate on your team. I don't hate no teams because, to me, we're still the Cowboys. We wear the star. I don't worry about your team. Like, I'm never, ever going to troll and jump on a Redskins or a Patriots or a Raiders, none of your fan groups, and jump in there and troll because I don't need to because your team is irrelevant to me.
All right.
It's always the Cowboys.
Let's give it to these bums.
To announce the Dallas Cowboys selection, please welcome the University of Tulsa wide receiver, Drew Pearson.
All right. How about them Cowboys? I want to thank the Eagle fans for allowing me to have a career in the NFL. Thank you. I am honored as an undrafted free agent to be selected to make the Cowboys second-round draft pick, and on behalf of the 5-time world champion Dallas Cowboys, Hall of Fame owner Jerry Jones, T. Jones and the Jones family, Coach Jason Garrett, all the Cowboy players that played before me, that played with me, and played after me, with the second pick, 60th pick in the second round, the Dallas Cowboys select defensive back from Colorado, Chidobe Awuzie.
How about this, Cowboys?
I mean, that's classic to this day. And you know what the funny thing about all that is?
Forever be a classic now.
Oh,
that will go down in history when we're old.
That's the first thing when they bring up the NFL draft. That's the first thing I'm going to bring up. And it's the Cowboys that did it. It wasn't you other teams that did it. It was the Cowboys that did it. And that's at the end of the day. We set trends. We don't follow teams. Y'all follow us. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why you haters always talking about us and always got us in your mouths, because we don't follow y'all. We don't care about y'all. And it's a beautiful thing when you know your team don't have to care about no other team, because we know who we are. Y'all worry about us. Y'all jump on our pages. Y'all make a point to always tell us we suck when you know we don't. We just came up there and smacked half your teams last year. We're going to be smacking you teams this year, and we're back. And when we get this defense together, man, it's going to be some trouble for you haters, because we get this 6th Super Bowl, it ain't going to be no words. And I think that's what the biggest key is to me, G. The biggest key to me is right now, all these other fans and football teams are scared, because they know we're getting closer and closer to that ultimate prize of when we get the 6th Super Bowl, you all going to shut up. You're going to shut the hell up.
I don't even think people watch us or pay attention to us.
Man, they watch us all the time, man.
I don't think they watch. Because
they watch us.
If they did, they would come with facts. They come with shit that or stupid stuff that don't make sense.
Well, the only thing they come with right now, the only argument that any hater says about the Dallas Cowboys is, "What you ain't did in 20 years." Man, shut up.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's all they got. They don't even watch us. They just like to hate. It's just fun for them. If they watch, they will shut up because they can see that it's not like that.
I mean,
like, I'm a fan. I mean, I love my Cowboys like to the day I die. And
I don't hate on other teams, though.
That's been my number one love. But I mean, I'm a fan of the entire league. I love the league as a whole. I love the sport of football. So I respect every team and every player.
See, my thing is I don't really hate on no teams.
I don't
like the Redskins. Let me take that back. I don't like the Redskins. I'm sorry. I don't like the Redskins. I don't like the Niners. I don't like the Steelers. I don't hate the Steelers, though, as much as I used to, because I respect what they bring to the table as far as their playing ability. They're a very good team. I respect teams that play good, solid football. But at the end of the day, only time I hate on your team is when you're running your mouth about my Cowboys. Like, I don't want, like, if I'm saying, oh, my team is going to be good, they always want to be like, oh, you're saying the same thing every year. Well, don't y'all say the same thing every year? Don't you say you want your team to be good every year? Isn't that what I'm supposed to do if I think my team is going to be good? So, yes, I'm going to say it if we have the talent, just like I'm going to say it again this year. We're going to be good this year. Maybe not 13-3, but we're still going to be a very good football team for the next 10 years. So teams should better just get used to it. So all we need is, if we get just get us 7 Super Bowls and then shut down the NFL, because you know it's over, because people will hate the world because Cowboy fans will own the earth.
I can't wait to see how everything pans out with Dak, and we're at that spot right now in his career where it's year 2. You remember what happened with Romo going into year 2 after that first-round playoff loss.
Right.
So same kind of situation, except Romo had to fumble snaps, so that ended up plaguing him his whole career. But it's just going to be interesting to see how Dak's story plays out. Is he going to keep going to playoffs and losing, or is he going to go in there and start winning? And you got to see it right away. If he loses, what if he loses this coming season and the next in the first round of the playoffs? We're going to be looking at another Andy Dalton or Romo. So he's got to win, or it's going to be like the way we judge Romo.
You're right. But
so
the good thing
we're
about
going to find
this
out
is,
real soon.
This is the first time in a long time I had in my heart. As I told you before, G, I love Romo as a player, but in my heart of hearts, I never thought Romo was going to take us to a Super Bowl. I just never had that feeling. I just always felt like something was always going to happen with him. I just feel like things like that don't happen to regular players, bobbling snaps and these just crazy plays. When those things just happen to you, I feel like that's just going to plague you your whole career. And as much as I would get hyped, I always had that cautious optimism with Romo, because I always felt like something was always going to happen with him. And no matter how good he was, it seemed like something always happened with Romo. So it was like he's not going to win the Super Bowl with us. He's just not.
It would just always be some coincidence.
It wasn't
necessarily his fault,
right.
But it always led back to him. Like the first thing that pops in my head when we talk about that is that Denver game, the shootout with Peyton Manning, how he gets his foot tripped up right at the end there, and
then he just happens to throw that type of interception.
Yeah, so it's like he got his foot tripped, so it's like not his fault, but then people, but it is his fault. So it was a really rough relationship with Tony Romo, but I loved him, man.
I think it was one of the between all Cowboys quarterbacks. If you look at Danny White, his numbers were crazy. He took Dallas to 3 NFC championships. I watched those games with Danny White as he was the punter and the quarterback. Danny White was a very good quarterback. He didn't have the malign. People were I would hate on Danny White, but not bad because he was still getting us there. You know what I mean? We just ran into really good teams. But it was almost like with Romo, he's got more hate as far as a Dallas Cowboy quarterback I've ever seen. And I don't know if it's because he's always had that thing over his head, like something always happens to him. No matter how good he can play, he can throw 420 yards, 4 touchdowns, complete 70% from the field, and throw 1 bad interception. And it's like the critical part of the game.
Right.
And it's like that's how he's judged. And I'm just like, I just knew we weren't going to win a Super Bowl with him.
Angel said Romo wasn't the leader in the first year that Dak was, and I agree with that. And we were talking about that before, the difference between what we see with Dak and what we saw with Romo. How Romo is a lot more active in the offseason doing other things than football, and how Dak seems to always have his head in the book on the film, and he's always trying to be prepared for any time to play. It just seemed like they're a little bit different in that regard, and he made the point that he couldn't put T.O. in check.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. You know, and that's why they let go of T.O. so that it could be Romo's team.
Right, because Romo wasn't strong enough in the locker room for T.O. That's why T.O. talked that trash. That's why he did it to McNabb. That's why he did it to Romo. But did you see him do it to Steve Young?
Nope.
He ain't doing it to Steve Young, and you're not doing it to Joe Montana either.
He said Dak let Dez know quick. I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily the
I don't
case.
think that happened.
I think Dak's play let Dez know. I don't think Dak said something to Dez. I think that Dak's play and his command in the huddle, more than anything, was what made Dez buy into Dak. I don't think he checked Dez or anything.
Yeah, I don't think Dez is getting checked by anybody. That's just my personal opinion. Dez is my guy.
You've seen how feisty he is.
I don't think Dez is getting checked by anybody. I don't think you're just walking up to Dez Bryant and telling him, hey, you're going to do this. I don't see that happening with some Dez Bryant. That's 400% sure that that's not happening. As you said, G, I think his play, his command in the huddle, I think it gave Dez already a respect for him.
Level of respect, exactly.
He respected him, and when Dez respects you, Dez is going to listen and play hard for you because he respects you. That's Dez's mentality. So it was his play. It was his command in the huddle. He saw his leadership ability. He saw this kid could be special. So I'm on board, and I'm going to do everything I can to make this kid better because I think he may be the it guy. He may have loved Romo, but I don't know if he even thought in his heart that Romo was the it guy.
Hey, Robert Man Wade Sr., we appreciate that comment. He said, love watching you guys. I'm born and raised in D.C., drinking Henny, enjoying you guys, the closest to Sunday football I'm going to get.
There it is.
That's what we're talking about. I mean, that's what we're going for here.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
That's what it says in the caption. No football, just join us. Why not? I mean, we're talking Cowboys.
All day.
You can see it behind us. You see some football back there.
Yeah, we play. You got to look at it. Now, Mr. I think is it Dino? He came with the question.
I think it's Dino.
Dino. My fault if I mispronounced that. Asked about our wide receiver depth. Bryce Butler. What do we think about him? Well, we talked a little bit about the receiver position. I think he may, not saying he's a bubble guy, but they didn't commit a lot of money to him. He's on a 1-year deal under $1 million. So there's no loyalty to him.
All that did was keep him from signing with some other team as we get through training camp.
So I think he has talent. We've seen he has talent, but he's got to put it together. We need him to be a step-up type receiver. He's got to make plays, whether he's making a straight pattern, if he's going on a 9, if he's going on a fly, if he's doing a slant. He makes some big catches. He's made some big catches last year, towing the line against Green Bay. He had another catch when I think we were playing, who were we playing at home, and he toe tapped it. Could be a really good receiver, but he's got to be consistent. That's the key to some of the players that we're looking for. He's got to be consistent. I like our depth.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I like our depth, but he's got to step up.
I was just going off of what you're talking about with Bryce Butler. Like, the game that stands out for me is the Green Bay game that Dez missed, the one early in the season.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game where he really looked like he could be a number 1 receiver. But Dez Bryant came back, and he wasn't able to get in there, that much. So he's always showing the flashes. It's just a matter of, can we commit to getting him on the field and putting him out there and leaving him out there?
Well, and I think
his hands got to improve.
And that's where I was going to go. When he does get in the game, see, this is the thing I think we're doing with Bryce Butler. When we put him in the game and they go to him, you got to catch the ball. I mean, that's plain and simple. When you get in the game and you have your opportunity, you got to make those plays. So the more catches you make, the more time you're going to get on the field. That's just plain and simple. If Beasley is catching the ball and Terrence Williams is catching the ball and Jason Witten is catching the ball and Dez Bryant's getting the ball, Bryce Butler, you're not seeing opportunities. But when you do get the opportunity, you got to make the play.
I mean, I feel like Dak and Butler do have some chemistry because you've seen some really good throws to him, but like you said, he dropped some. So that's going to just lower the confidence that the quarterback has in you, and he's probably not likely to go to you as much, and coaches aren't going to put you in as much when you can't hold on to him. And like you said, big ones.
And if you're already not getting a lot of reps anyway, and let's say we keep a Noah Brown, I mean, Ryan Switzer, let's say they start throwing him on certain sub packages. Now anytime you get on the field, you have to make the play. So like I said, the biggest thing to me is his hands have to improve, because he's dropped some big he caught some few good big plays, but he's dropped some big passes, and he's got to be able to have those hands in check when he gets the ball.
Definitely. Staying on the receivers, Dono also asked, does Dez have 1,000 yards receiving?
Oh,
we talked about that on the
a
little bit ago before we went live.
That's my dog.
I expect Dez to have his best season of his career yet this year. I mean, you saw what him and Dak was able to do the last couple games of the season. There were several times throughout the season at any time. Like, you remember that Baltimore game?
Mm-hmm.
2 big touchdowns for Dez. When we beat Chicago, he caught that sweet slant over the middle and drug the dude into the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
So, and in the Green Bay game, the last game they played was huge. So I don't see why it couldn't pick up. That's probably the best game they had together, the Green Bay game in the playoffs.
It seems like to me, when you saw Romo and Dez, it was such a good. Romo threw such a pretty pass.
That chemistry.
He had great chemistry with him. But when you watch like you said, that Green Bay game, when they had that chemistry, when he was just throwing the ball right to Dez, and Dez was getting involved in the game, if those two can connect like you're talking about, I don't know if he breaks his year that he had the 16 touchdowns. I don't know if he breaks that, but like anything close to 12 to 13 touchdowns a year with him, 1,300 receiving yards. I definitely think he's 13, 14, maybe 1,500 receiving yards this year. I really think him and Dak, I think Dak is really going to go to him. I think he's going to come back to being the man that he was before. I don't know if they're going to try to put him in the top 5, but I don't think he's dropped. It's just he's gotten a bad rap with his injuries. I think that's really, really knocked him down more than anything is his injuries.
His touchdowns don't necessarily make it a career year for me, like if you don't have as many touchdowns as before. But like yards and catches, I'm thinking he might not get as many touchdowns, but I'm thinking his catches are going. I think he could crack.
Why you don't think he's going to get a lot of touchdowns? Because he's such a threat in the red zone. You throw it up to him, you can't get him.
I'm just saying, for him to have a career season, I don't necessarily think that just means getting more touchdowns than what his previous career high was.
He has to have at least 10 touchdowns this year.
I'm just saying, a career season for me is catches and yards.
Right, but so to me, he needs 10 touchdowns.
You get 100 catches and 1,500 yards, put up a career year in catches and yards. Dylan Dunphy, he said pass rush equals good corners. Yes, but that also works hand in hand.
That does true. Well, but
pass rush don't equal good corners, but it gives you a better chance to get interceptions. And because the quarterback's going to be disrupted, have to get rid of the ball sooner. But good corners also will give you coverage sacks. So it kind of works hand in hand.
It really does. And just in that analogy, I mean, we've seen time and time again where good cornerbacks have got paid. Well, let me take that back. Average cornerbacks have got big money. Why? Because that defensive line is so good. They're getting picks, and maybe they're really not that good. But when they're getting that backfield every play and you're getting those turnovers as a cornerback, it maybe doesn't expose you as much. Somebody who was a crutch to me, or who I don't think was that good, was Byron Maxwell. When he went from the Seattle Seahawks to the Philadelphia Eagles, he got burnt because I don't think he was okay. Well, he came back a little bit with the Dolphins, but he was just okay. He couldn't trail receivers. That was his to me, when he was playing in the slot, he wasn't good. But when you got Richard Sherman and you got Earl Thomas and you got those guys,
exactly,
it makes you look better than you really are.
Exactly. He was the weakest link of the Legion of Boom. So.
And you saw what happened. He got exposed when he was on the island by himself.
And that's how it always
got exposed.
Works. When teams win Super Bowls, players go to places. Malcolm Smith, who was with Denver, and he had the monster game, or was it? No, he was with Seattle when they beat Denver. Malcolm Smith, he had the pick six and a huge game for Seattle. Then he goes to Oakland, and he's just not as good as he was in that defense. So it just showed you that it is more of a team game than individual players. And I feel like the Cowboys are building that team. Like, we don't have, just a Richard Sherman, so we don't have a monster dominating player, but we're getting all these players together to build it. And they're all young, so it's exciting.
Yeah. What's up, Big Trey? Wingfield, what's up, Big Dog? He asked about, do we go after Dwight Freeney? Honestly, I think the mode with the Cowboys, once again, is we're not touching old players. I mean, we're not dealing with them. I just feel like they're stuck on this youth movement. Our average age on our defense is probably around 25 years old. I know it's probably around 26, maybe, on the offensive side of the ball.
Probably the team. I
mean, you're looking at the team is probably 25, 26 as a whole. I think we want to stay young. I don't think if we wanted Freeney, we would have already went after him. If we wanted those type of players, we would have already attacked them.
Yeah,
we're not touching them.
We talked about it earlier. I think we're pretty good at defensive line unless some kind of injury happens or something changes in training camp or something.
Yeah, only time I think we get a free agent like one of those guys is a major injury. I think if we have injuries across the board is when we'll actually go look out for other teams, players, waiver wire, things of that nature. But if we're pretty much injury free, I think we're rolling with what we have. We're going to go with this youth movement. I think they really want to throw these rookies in the fire. It's going to make them better if they can play early now and take the lumps early so they can be more seasons toward the end of the year. Because I think if we can get – if the only thing that's really going to stop us, honestly, this year, in my eyes, is injuries. It's the only thing that's going to stop us this year. I think our defense is going to be –
pretty good.
I think we're going to be a top 10 defense. I think we will be. I feel we will be. Our offense is still going to be dominant. I don't think we may be 13-3. We'll still be close. 11, like I said, 5 is still very good for me within the division. The main thing I worry about is the playoffs. But if we can get those tough games out, the Falcons, the Cardinals, the Broncos, the Raiders, if we can get those battle-tested games, and by the time we hit the playoffs, those rookies don't look so much like rookies no more, and we're making plays. I want to see that defense make plays.
Hey, Brian Hamlin, big Cowboys fan, he says he feels like he's the only one here in Findlay. Hey, we're in Ohio, too. We're right here in Columbus, so what's up?
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, Brian, because they hate on us. Boy, I'm going to tell you something. Out here in Ohio, they hate Cowboy fans. Like, they hate us out here. They go so hard. But the only thing they got to say is 20 years.
There's still a lot of Cowboys fans, though.
It's still, there still is, but there's a lot of haters, G, and you know it.
I know there's a lot of haters, but there's still, like, everywhere I go, like, there's a lot of Cowboys fans. I see Cowboys fans more than I'd never see, fans of other teams unless it's around here, Bengals, Browns, Steelers, Colts, or something like that. Other than that, it's Cowboys. I don't really see any other teams.
Oh, my God. You said Dino, he's in Columbus. He said he's in Columbus.
Okay.
So what's up?
If you go to Facebook, search for the group Dallas Cowboys in Ohio and join the group.
Yeah, join the group.
We just started it, so we're trying to get every Cowboys fan in Ohio involved with that. And if you know other Cowboys fans in Ohio, add them to the group. Oh, yeah, and check out our YouTube page because if you like the show.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you like the show, check out the YouTube page and subscribe to it. Just go to YouTube, Silver and Blue Nation, subscribe, and right there you'll find all the shows we've done. This is what, our 6th show now? Mm-hmm. 5th or 6th show?
Yeah.
So we haven't been doing it too long. We're just getting started. But go to YouTube and subscribe so you can be notified because we're going to be uploading these videos right after they're done here. So subscribe so you can have us in your pocket all the time.
Word up. So let me make sure I'm not leaving nobody out. Anton Guess he said Sheldon Richardson. No, we're not touching Sheldon Richardson, so I'm not even going to talk about him because I don't think we're even going to mess with him. I seen somebody was saying, why don't we wear our blue jerseys over our white? I love the blue jerseys. I used to hate the blue jerseys because, like I said, I came up a long time ago in the 70s. So when we used to wear the blue jerseys back in the day, there was like a jinx. Like whenever we wore the blue jerseys, we got smashed and blew out. So they never wanted to wear the blue jerseys. Then we started finally winning some games, then so the hex kind of went away. I love to see them with them blue jerseys more because I think it makes us more imposing when we come into opposing teams' stadiums and we're wearing the all blue jerseys.
Yeah, I like the blue jerseys. Anytime I go to buy a jersey, like I always want to get the blue ones. I don't really want the white ones. I just feel like they look better.
The blue jerseys just do something. When you got the blue all the way down,
they're not plain.
We just look hard.
And then the blue ones have little things that are different too, like with the star on the sleeves.
Exactly.
They don't have that on the white ones. It's just a blue stripe.
It's just a blue stripe. And when we come on the field and we're all in our all blue with the blue sleeves, the blue gloves, man, we're looking hard. Yeah, every team is looking at us, and we got the star on the helmet. Everybody, you might hate us even more because we just look fresh. We just look really good, and it looks like we're just about to whoop your butt up in your field. So I like them blue jerseys. Let's bring them back. I want to see more of them I like the blue. I don't mind the white, but I love the blue.
You know, they kind of been wearing them a little bit more often here lately.
What's that?
Like the blue jerseys. Like this past year, didn't we wear them about 3 times?
Yeah, we wore them quite a bit.
Normally you see them once a year, maybe none at all. Some years you don't even see them.
Yeah, I definitely
feel like it's slowly coming back more and more.
Yeah.
How you feel about those color rush jerseys? I don't really care for those.
I don't really like the color rush jerseys.
I don't like the all solid one color. I think they should just do some kind of like sweet color Nike retro thing like they do with like Oregon and stuff. You know, if they want to do something like that, don't make it one solid color.
I think they just doing when they brought them like them Jacksonville colors, and I just take it all away. After I seen them Jacksonville and them Titans and making my eyes hurt, and the green with the Seattle Seahawks, just take it all away. I don't even want to see that crap no more. Just don't ever bring that back to the NFL because that just hurts my eyes. I want to watch football. I don't want to watch a bunch of neon dudes, and I can't make my eyes hurt. So stay with the red. Now I like the only thing I like when we go old school. Now when they go to the like old school jerseys.
The Thanksgiving Day ones?
The Thanksgiving, like, let's say the old Houston Oilers. When the Titans go to old Houston Oilers, or when they go to the old Philadelphia Eagles, when they go to them old Chargers, bring those back. Bring the old schools. None of that new school crap. Get that out of here, man.
Hey, if you guys are watching, Brian, definitely. If you're in Ohio, I mean, we're going to the Hall of Fame game when it comes, so get ready for that. We're going to be up there doing interviews, and we're going to have all kind of cool fan videos and stuff. So that'll be fun. We'll have that up on the website and on the Facebook page. But I'm actually about to go ahead and post the link to the YouTube page right here in the comments. So if anybody wants to go ahead, you can go ahead and subscribe to it right there. Just click on that link and subscribe. Simple as that.
There it is. And I think you just did it.
Yeah.
Comedian Cuz, why don't Dez practice his route running? I mean, I don't know. I hear that his route tree is limited. I've seen it. It does look like he does need to get his route tree better. But to me, it seems like Dez works hard. But I think he does need to clean up his routes. I think he doesn't cut them off like he's supposed to sometimes, and especially because he doesn't have the top end speed. I think his route running needs to be super crisp because it will make him even a better receiver because he's big and physical.
I think injuries is what keeps him from being a top 5 receiver. Because when he is healthy, he is a top 5 receiver. I mean, it really comes down also to the quarterback. Because with Dez Bryant, I mean, his strength is going up 50-50 ball and just out jumping you and getting that. You know what I mean? Like, that's his strength. So it's going to come down to the quarterback giving him the ball, and it's going to come down to the coaches directing the quarterback to give him the ball, or, you know, drawing up plays for him. So I think if we wanted him to be, he'd be a top receiver every year. You know, his health, though, that's the only thing. We already know his ability is top receiver. Can he stay on the field, though?
True, because the last 3 or 4 years, last 3 years, he's been hurt.
And that's why I put the poll on the page. Will Dez Bryant over or under? Will Dez Bryant play in 13 games this year? You know, that can change depending on if we make the playoffs or number 1 seed or something. You know, they might not play the last week, but, you know, just if you assume he's playing 16 games, and because when has he played 16 games?
That's a good question.
I need to look at that up, because
if he's played 16 games, it's maybe only 1 season.
Probably 14.
Yeah, I don't think he's played a full 16 games.
I think he missed one in 14 too. So
yeah,
you know, that's the key for him. If he can stay healthy, when you look at, you know, guys like that, like Antonio Brown, he's always on the field. He's never hurt. I mean, Julio Jones will get hurt. But
he's still on the field.
I say, yeah, he usually always plays. He might miss 1 game a season, but he's pretty durable. Dez is just such a physical player that he's going to get hurt because of the way he plays. And sometimes it's scary watching Dez, you know, because sometimes he thinks he does a little too much. You just want him to go down and protect that football.
Right.
But that's going on to something else. But I just think his health as well holds him back. That's just my opinion, from being a top 5. I think when he is healthy, like when you saw him 14, in 14 he was a top 5. So that's his ceiling, and he can be that depending on the health.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only thing that does stop him is his health. I mean, especially when he starts getting on a roll. And you know Dak's going to give him the ball. I just think him and Dak are going to have a really good connection. And as long as he stays on the field, stays injury-free, I see big numbers from him. And he takes our team to a whole different level. What's up, my big dog, Mr. Manning?
I actually saw Angel, the guy we were talking to earlier, Gonzalez, I think his name was. He said having Dez is a luxury right now. And I agree with that, because I've said it before. I don't think you have to have a big receiver to win, as you see with the Patriots, the Seahawks. So Dez Bryant being on the team is a luxury because you've seen what Dak can do without Dez. He still puts up big numbers. He has a big game.
And he still won games, and he put up better numbers
without Dez.
When Dez wasn't there.
So now you add a Ryan Switzer and a Noah Brown or somebody like that, or maybe that Brian Brown guy, who knows, instead of a Lucky Whitehead who was nothing on offense besides an occasional sweep play. And in my opinion, he sucked in the return game. Couldn't trust him. He's too little. He'd fumble, so I think he'll be gone. So Dak's going to have at least 2 new weapons to play with this year on the offense. And we talked about it before. There will be special plays designed for Switzer. So, and you said it earlier, maybe looking to draft a receiver next year, because Dez Bryant getting a little up there in age. The whole point here is I agree with Angel, though. Dez Bryant's a luxury right now.
I can see where you can say he's a luxury, and that's why I feel like it was good that he got his money, because I don't know if he gets, when his contract is up, he gets another contract with us. I don't know that. We have to see what his level is, because as I said before, I think we go to a big-time receiver next year in the draft.
Long term, I don't believe.
Huh?
I don't believe when it comes time to re-sign Dez, I don't see a long-term deal.
I see maybe a 2-year deal.
Especially the way it's trending now in the NFL. You've seen it a lot this year. Guys with 1-2-year deals. Jeffrey, Marshall, a couple guys in the division did that.
Pryor did it too.
I see that being the situation. Exactly. I see that being the situation now going forward, because you know how these contracts are trendy. Like that's kind of what's going to happen now. So I can see him signing a 1 or 2 year deal at the end of his deal.
Well, they're being honest with themselves. So many times we used to see in the NFL a guy have a phenomenal 2 or 3 years, and then when he signs a big contract, or let's say when he's 34, well, he's getting 29, 30 years old, maybe 31 years old, he signs a 5-6 year deal. You're not going to most likely play that long in the NFL. So why are they signing to this long year? And you know they're not even going to see that kind of money. So like you said, the trend is starting where now they're doing those 1, 2, 3 year deals, because the more reality of it is we just want to see you these next 3 years at your peak performance, because after that you're not going to be peak and you're probably going to be out the league.
And a good example of that is DeMarco Murray. Even though he was hurt a little bit, but you've seen him come in and last his rookie deal, and that was it. And, Zeke might be a different kind of guy. I could see him getting another deal, a second deal.
Yeah, Zeke is definitely going to get a second deal.
I don't know, though, because I've just, the comments that I've heard Stephen Jones make, he sounds like he's all about, like, especially with a running back, play you as much as they can in your rookie deal and then let you go. I mean, basically, that's kind of what he was saying. And it's something I watched with. I might have to pull that up for next week.
Okay, you have to pull that up.
Yeah, I'll bring that up next week.
I want to hear him say that.
Yes, I'm going to find that and get it up here next week.
That. But I think Zeke is a different type of player, just like we had DeMarco Murray, right?
I agree with that, though.
So look, because we can take the example of DeMarco Murray. He's still only 29 years old. He's not even 30 yet, right? So we had him his first, 4 years?